Hello. Alright. Hello, I'm Cody Tufty, a senior at Conwalk High School, as you have hopefully found out. I'm here to tell you about a new form of hydroelectricity for the future. Now, all fossil fuels that we have discovered and been using have an expiration date shown by this graph. Oil is due to run out the first, gas second, and then coal last. So we have other things such as nuclear energy, we are working on fission, we're working on all sorts of things, but they all have another time a high cost. Hydroelectric now has a huge input cost, such as dams are huge input costs. Clean energy right now, other than hydroelectric, we have solar energy, solar panels, we all know about it. Solar panels, wind energy, which is apparently X'd out, and geothermal energy drawing heat from mantles. So hydroelectric energy has become 16% of the world's electricity that's being used. The dams that are created are able to supply a huge amount of electricity to vast areas. However, it's very invasive to the surrounding environment. Creating a dam floods areas, creates new habitats, displaces people, animals, trees, all sorts of things. However, it does employ tons of people in its facilities. Current implements of hydroelectric power is the Hoover Dam, we all know it. Production capacity of almost 2,074 megawatts, built back in the 1930s, came with a price tag of $49 million. Today, however, that would be almost $713 million. Another one, the second largest in the world, is the Three Gorges Dam out in China. Approximately 98.8 terawatts per hour and set the record in 2014. This is the Hoover Dam, which we all know and love, and the Three Gorges. The Three Gorges Dam was infamous for the amount of people it displaced and the flooding problems it caused due to poor planning and such like that. The largest in the world is the Itaipu Dam. It was a binational effort between Brazil, Venezuela, and several others. It has 20 generating units, and installed generation of 14 gigawatts, which is huge, as we all know. Each unit provides about 700 megawatts each, with a hydraulic design head of 118 meters, and it surpassed the Three Gorges Dam out in back in 2016 with 103 terawatt hours, and yeah. So the problem with all these things is they're huge. They're huge displacement, huge initiation cost, a huge manpower to produce. Some of them have huge input costs, like constantly oiling the gears, constantly keeping oil in their transformers to keep them cool, and stuff like this. And how can this be solved? Now, as Pite Hein once said, problems worthy attack prove their worth by fighting back. So what this means is, if this was easy, we would all just have energy, free energy all the time, but obviously it's not. So this is the problem statement I came up with, as it reads: 90% of the world population uses electricity on a daily basis, and the current main provider of energy is fossil fuels, which causes the pollution and has an expiration date, as we saw on the graph. Environmentalists and energy companies are in need of a renewable hydroelectric energy source that can be used in regions with little to none elevation change. The reason I chose to say hydroelectric is because it is the cleanest, least detrimental to wildlife, surprisingly, and such like that. Now, every source of water has potential to create electricity, even still lakes. Obviously, I'm going to be focusing more on rivers, small creeks moving at less than 2 meters a second, or roaring rapids running at 60 meters per second. Now, river technology and prior solutions to this problem is one by Ind Energy. It uses two Darius turbines, which are aerofoils that the water goes over and creates a centrifugal force that turns the turbine. Now, this is a very efficient design. However, it does need a large, fast-moving water to operate, and it needs deep water, and it doesn't have any built-in transformers into it. So when it comes out as a static thing. It also produces DC electricity that then has to be converted into AC, which we all use in our homes. Now, the Vortex river turbine is created by a Swiss company, which is a lovely name. So what the water does when it comes in, they take a portion of the river and they send it through a vortex. So when they go through, hits a curved wall, spins a turbine based on the water going outwards and such. A very efficient design. However, it costs about $1.2 million to put in, though it only needs an elevation change of 5 feet and produces annually 63.72 kilowatts. Now, improvements to the current solutions are the implementation cost. $1.2 million for something only producing 15 kilowatts an hour or a week, is a problem, and usually is not going to pay itself off for many years. Efficiency, when we talk about the river turbine, you need fast-moving water, and as efficient as the Durarius turbines are, there's still a lot lost in that. And of course, the power output. Both the things I showed you, are solutions I showed you, did not have an overabundance of output power like the dams did, huge amounts. And that obviously is essential when you're talking about the cost benefit between solutions and putting a big dam or some solar panels. Now, I have many design requirements, and I have to thank Mr. John Droz over in the solar energy company. He was a founder. He's a physicist, mathematician, and successful real estate investor. So, in here, I talk about how it must be using AC current. It's a list of all the things, basically, I've already told you to this point. And then I put this number in there for a standard to tell of what I needed, $1,000 for each kilowatt produced. When you're paying money, your energy bill, like $250 a month, to however it might be, you're paying for the people, the energy, and the fossil fuels that are being used. So by bringing that number down, not only will it bring the company's costs down, but it'll bring your electric bill down as well. Now, I figured if it can go through and turn one turbine, the water is moving when it exits the turbine. So if you put it in a hydro circuit, moving through multiple turbines, you can spin multiple turbines, multiply the output. Running water, as I was talking about before, the creeks, the slow-moving water, the fast-moving water, it changes all the time, and you need to be able to, or I'm trying to figure out a way to use every single source of energy. So when you're in the desert and you have a 6-inch river running through it by your house, and that's your source of movement, you can have an adaptable thing you can put in there, and it will provide energy to whatever you need with that small area, or no elevation change. Out here in Wisconsin, we have some, but in some areas it's dead flat, or in Illinois in the lovely cornfields that stretch on forever. Now, see, the research area of the portion was essential to this because learning about all the things out there and that have been tried, they're working, but they're not working well enough. So I said this because I couldn't find a quote that was suited my needs. So if someone sets out to better those who have come before them, they must try something that others have not. So in all my research, that's how I came across this lovely little gem here called the Vortex coil. Now, Vortex technology, the actual symbol was discovered by Marco Rodin back in 1989, but 3D vortex mathematics and this coil was not discovered or invented, however you would like to phrase it, until 3 years ago. So vortex mathematics, in a summary, is a 3-step process, basically. Taking the symbol, the neogram, it creates a polynumber matrix based on the family number groups that are in this, and I'll go into that in a second. So by taking this and multiplying in a 9 by 9 to a 81 by 81 and exponentially greater, you create this multiplication tables, by the multiplication tables with this, sorry, in a polynumber matrix that can stretch on infinitely for depending which coil you make. However, for this one, an example of this one, it's a 48 squared, or to the fourth, sorry, and this is 128 squared to the, yeah, okay. Now you take this, and to wrap this coil, you take the polynumber matrix and wrap it in a torus or a donut, such things. Now, on to the actual math. So, an anagram is a lot of people call it, a lot of internet websites, forums out there, they'll say this is a pseudoscience, it's a trick of the numbers because it's base 10. So this works in base 10, however, because base 10 operates with all the single digit numbers that we have known throughout the years, that's why this works, because it uses every knowledge we have. You count in base 6, you go at 6, you go 6 back to 1. However, that's not using all the single digit numbers we have known. So when you do this, it's simply you just add on to itself. Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, and you go to 1. So, and I'll tell you why in a second. So if you go to this symbol right here, bounded infinity, it's a doubling circuit that cannot be broken, halving, dividing, multiplying, such. So when you go 1 to 2, doubles to 2, 2 to 4, doubles to 2 is doubled to 4, 4 is doubled to 8, 8 is doubled to 7. Now why do I have a 7 there? I have a 7 there because 8 doubled to 16, 1 plus 6 is 7. Now this is using the decimal parity or root number math and age-old kindergarten trick or jokes that you always like to do. However, in this math, it takes it more seriously and applies to it more. Now this bounded infinity symbol, the doubling, the halving, what it can do is not only found in this math, it's found in our DNA strands, how we model it. It's found in our harmonic series, doubling from C to C to C. It's found in neutrinos as they come in. This doubling circuit's found everywhere in nature, 1 cell to 2 cells, 2 cells to 4 cells, 4 cells to 8 cells, keep doubling back. When you get 32, when you go to 32, 3 plus 2 equals 5, 64, 6 plus 4 equals 10, 10 plus 0 equals 1. When it gets to 64 cells, that's when cells split off, start becoming brain cells, tissue cells, bone cells. So it shows the significance of the number 1. Now when you take those multiplication tables and you look deeper in it, you get family number groups. Now family number groups are number groups with it's a doubling, kind of, in a ratio of 3. So you go 1 plus 3 equals 4, 4 plus 3 equals 7, 7 plus 3 equals 10, 10 plus 0 equals 1. So that's how you get the 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8 the same way, 2 plus 3 equals 5, 5 plus 3 equals 8, 8 plus 3 equals 11, 1 plus 1 equals 2. 3, 6, 9 is a repeating thing. As you see up there, the secondary triangle, it's because they flip-flop between each other. 3 plus 3 equals 6, 6 plus 3 equals 9, 9 plus 3 equals 12, 1 plus 2 equals 3. Family number groups. And when you look at this thing right here, is this a laser pointer? Yeah, it is. Cool. 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 2, 5, 8, 9, 3. So it creates 3 triangles interwoven, creates a 9-pointed star. I think, yeah. 9-pointed star, the geometry of the coil, as I'll go into. Now when you put all these together in 3 by 3 square, you get the number groups 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8, 3, 6, 9. 9 is always in the center because that is the center of the vortex. Now, when you create this, you have the vortex, the positive vortex spinning outwards, growing larger, and the negative vortex spiraling inwards. As you see in this one, you have them back and forth, and when you put it through these, you get positive, negative, a binary code or binary thing. The flip-flop, the 555 flip-flop timer, it goes back and forth. So, as you can see there too, it flip-flops back and forth, positive, negative, stuff like that. Now, when you put these together, you get this table. When you wrap this table in a torus pattern, you wrap it around a torus, you get a pattern, the Abha torus, as it is called by Mr. Randy Powell. Now this torus is a model of the Pauli number matrix going in, out, swirling around, and there's what it comes out to. As you can see in right here, I have all of the different numbers, the three phases of what the numbers go through. Numbers in this math have polarity. Numbers are reality. It's not where numbers move around functions, it's where the functions move around the numbers. So you do this, you get the three phases, you go here, and it goes in here, it wraps around, comes out. So the numbers are going in, out, constantly doing this, and when you send electricity through this, when you wrap this coil, obviously when electricity moves through a wire, it'll create a small, almost undetectable magnetic field. When it does this, at a higher voltage, creating a larger magnetic field, expanding, compressing, creating the step-up voltage that this coil does, the compression and decompression of magnetic fields. So, the coil, how and why it is built. So, how it is built is fairly simple, but very time-consuming. Let me tell you. So, you create this frame, which is the frame for the Mini. For this one, I used the 48 to the 4, so sorry, that was this one, not the 128. Toroid shape to create this. That's how I found out I needed a 10-inch outside diameter of the coil and a 4 inches inside and a height of 4 inches to create the perfect torus. Now, the 12 points around the circle is this right here, the 12 points around this, knowing that the coil will wrap 12 times around each thing, creating the donut effect. So this is the thing. I made it out of clear acrylic plastic, 1 for aesthetic, and 2 because it was strong, durable, and suited my needs. Now, wire bundling and wire winding. So I used 24 gauge wire wrapped 24 times. So I had approximately 60-foot distance between 2 points, as you can see right here. 4 nails that I did at 2 points for strength. And I took this spool right here, and I went there and back, and that was 1, and I did it 12 times, so back and forth 24 times. And when I did this, I made this little contraption here to wind it, get the wire, obviously. Now, to wind this coil, you start at a point. Doesn't matter where you start, it's all going to come back to the same point. I started here and wound counterclockwise first with this coil and clockwise over it. So by doing that, you can do coils where you just have clockwise, and then you can do coils where you just have counterclockwise. Doing the doubling, it adds a more compression, decompression, and steps up the voltage more, lowering the amps. So once I did that, I have, and spread the ends of it, you have 24 wires, right? Okay? That's what I did. So I soldered 11 connections, 22 wires. This, by doing that, I would send electricity in the first 2 leads, and it would come out and go back into the coil 11 times. So the more times you send the signal back through the coil, the more it's going to compress, decompress, and step up. So test 1, since this was the first coil I made, and I wanted to see if using the channel A, there's a different connection, different combination of contacts to use that would create a better output. I labeled them all 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the positive and negative is obviously the positive and negative leads that I put in and came out. So I didn't use an amplifier, I used it straight from the function generator, so that's why it's all in millivolts. I assumed a resonant frequency of 6.06 kilohertz. And the reason this coil uses frequency instead of direct voltage is because the Vortex math is modeling sound. So this is a new theory, a new idea in the idea of the talk of coils. And it is because the vibrations, when I was talking about the doubling, the harmonic series, when any waveform is a sine wave, light waves are sine waves, and all things in life are sine waves. So since this is modeling perfect sound, you send sound through it, it will do what it needs to do. However, you need to find the resonant frequency, and that is the reason for the next test. The next test, once I found the best...
Thank you, Cody. Maybe you can continue next Thursday.
Right.